Hey there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Here's something I really haven't shown you much of this summer, and there's a reason. It's probably my biggest garden fail of the season. So for me, a garden fail is something that you expect to do well, and it just doesn't. You know, sometimes I do things, and I don't know how well they'll do. I know I'm kind of going against what common belief and gardening wisdom would mean, and if they don't work out, they don't work out, and that's fine, and they're just kind of an experiment for fun, just to push the limits. But this was growing carrots in this raised bed. You can't tell here, but it's actually raised up off the ground. You see there's gravel underneath, and it goes down, so it's raised up about, I don't know, 30, 45 centimeters off the ground, and then it has about that much space of growing space in it, about 30 centimeters growing space in it. And I've grown carrots in here before, and that's what I planted in here this year. Last year they did amazing in here, lots of harvests. I did succession sowings of carrots. They did really well in this bed. This year, not so much. So I haven't really harvested anything beyond about this big out of here, out of many varieties of carrots. And I think the reason is because of where I have it placed. I thought this area would get enough sunshine here. This is on the west side of my greenhouse. And I don't know, I just thought there'd be enough light that came into this with it being raised up here. I thought it would do it, but I think it just did not have enough light to grow things well. So I'm going to harvest what's in here today, see if there's anything worth taking in the house to grow. But some of these carrots have been here since the spring. And I mean, we've had frost and we've had snow, so they're smashed down, but there's not much growth here. So I'm just gonna harvest them. We'll see what we get. I'll show you in the end. And my plan eventually is to get this moved. And I was watching the light patterns. This is my first year at the greenhouse. This is a very heavy bed. I'll have to get help to move it, and I'll have to empty it, even with help to move it. I built it myself. It's probably overbuilt. But once I'm able to get it moved, it's gonna go actually behind my greenhouse, which is the north side, which seems wrong. But when I was watching the sun this summer and seeing where it hits the most in that, there's actually quite a bit of sun back there, just because of the angle of my yard it's not perfectly north. And we get a lot of that east morning sun coming in there for a large part of the day. And I actually think that that's going to do better than here. So that's where I'm going to try this next. I really like this bed, but with the greenhouse, I don't have the same amount of space to put it in my yard. So I just have to try and play around with it. Unfortunately, it's big and heavy, but you have to play around with it till I find the right space. Hopefully next year's is the one. But let's see if there's anything in here worth keeping. So it's chilly out here. It's November 14th, I think now. And I'm not sure. Oh shoot, the bed's even frozen. We've had a lot of warm days, and the sun is lower in the sky now, and there's no leaves in the trees. I thought I'd be able to get in here. But it's right frozen. Oh, this is the biggest fail. Let's see. Sorry, ladybugs. Wonder if I can get a shovel or something and be able to get in here, because I can see the tops of a few carrots that might be decent. So I'm gonna go find a trowel or something and try and get in here. I don't know if any of this will work, but I brought a trowel, garden fork, and a little mini shovel. We'll see if any of these can actually get into this soil. There's a ladybug in here. I woke up. Once I get below that top layer, kind of wants to go in there. So it's just the top layer, I think, that's completely frozen. So let's see, what did we wind up with? So no, that's still pretty frozen. It just came out in a big chunk is all. So frozen carrots. Those aren't too bad because I think those are like an Adelaide or a little finger or something. So I don't know. Well, you can see there's a few more there that kind of lifted with that soil. Let's see if we can get them out. Oh, wow. I didn't think I was even going to get this much out of here. So even getting these is making me happy. Because every time I've pulled up carrots this year, they've just been like basically strings. Well, I'm glad I came out because I really was tempted to just leave these until spring and deal with it then. There is something edible in here. I don't know if you can see those there. So I had a few people tell me when I was talking about this bed that still needs to be harvested, I had a few people put in the comments to just put a heavy blanket on it. And a lot of people I've heard do that for carrots and things. But as hopefully you could see when I showed you, this bed is raised way, way off the ground. So I don't really think that would have been insulated enough. Okay, let's look at these. Over here, I planted these, I think in July after I'd pulled up the initial row, which were smaller than what I just got off there. Let's see if they look like they have no tops, so I don't think, yeah. You see that? There's nothing there worth pulling out. But I gotten more than I thought I would already, so let's keep going. So yeah, so I didn't put a blanket or anything on, and now maybe it would have kept them from freezing for a few weeks. I didn't realize we were gonna come back to this warm weather. And I use warm. It's relative to what we've had here. It's only around 0 right now, which is just the freezing point, 32 Fahrenheit, I think. There is carrots in here. Oh, that's good. Just a matter of prying them out. Oh, there's a few more in this chunk here. These have nothing on them. Ouch. Oh, these are so frozen. I banged my finger, which is cold, into there. Oh, that hurt. Okay. These are just little tiny roots. Well, I never, ever in my life have harvested carrots or anything, I think, in November before here in Saskatchewan, Canada. I often harvest my potatoes in October, but nothing in November. So it's a new experience here. And it's not even in my greenhouse. Oh, it's a little more thawed down at this end. Maybe I should started at this end where the sun's shining more. these out of the way. There's a drip line running through this, but I never actually had it connected to anything. It's too far from any infrastructure to hook up to drip over here. It's another thing, if I get it the back of my greenhouse where the rain barrels are and that, or closer to my garden beds, I could probably get it connected up there and get more regular water on it as well. It's definitely thawed out up in this corner because I was just trying to move this drip line and the carrots started pulling out. And there is a little green onion in there as well. I'd put a few little onion sets. Now maybe that's why the carrots didn't grow. Maybe they don't like onions. But I'm sure I've grown them beside each other before. Put it in the comments. Have you ever grown onions and carrots beside each other? The onions didn't do well either. Look at this crazy thing. It's one carrot. A lot easier down at the other end there, where the ground's a bit thawed out. Look at those, they just pull right out. Oh, that's a good one. You see that? Oh, these guys must be frozen just enough to stay. Well, I'll just keep going through here, pulling out what I can, and then I'll show you what I wound up with, I guess, in the end. I really didn't expect to be getting as much out of here as I am. Have you ever chipped your harvest out of the ice before? I broke that one. Well, these carrots can be frozen because I'll just take these, clean them up, and into the freezer. I assume they won't be very good fresh because they're pretty frozen now, So what do you think? I think it's lack of light over here. And I don't know, I did read after I put the onions in here that carrots don't like being planted by onions. I thought they'd be perfect companions because the onions do have, it's the root, but it's not like a huge low in the ground. They won't actually be raised up a bit. So I actually thought they'd work well together. And then as it turned out, the carrot stems kind of smashed the onions down. And most of the onions didn't grow because they got their necks broken immediately. So they didn't really size up or do anything anyways. And this guy's just so soft and mushy. Not worth trying to save. You can freeze onions, but I think to try and get that to a usable point wouldn't be worth it. My best onions are actually from a tray that I didn't think was growing of old seed that I tossed in my one flower bed, and a bunch of the onions did germinate and grow, and that's where I harvested most of my onions from this year. Well, I'm glad I didn't have to completely pickaxe out this entire bed. Most of it wasn't as frozen as where I just happened to start there. I guess I should have looked at that before I started the video. There's a couple of these in here. There's a carrot that's different color. I'll have to look that up because I didn't think I planted any that were different colored carrots this year, but I'll have to look. Either I did or some seed was mixed up or something. There's another onion. So I thought I had pulled a lot of the onions out, but it doesn't look like I did. I tried to get the smaller ones and use them for green onions because they just got knocked over and squashed right away, but apparently I left a lot in. Like I said, with those carrot tops, it was hard to tell. Okay, so I'm in the last little corner here, and look what I found. That's the best sized carrot I found yet. Well, that one actually grew some length to it. This corner, this was the prize winner, I guess. Here. Well, for 2 carrots anyways. Definitely there's still lots of onions in here. Like I said, I thought I picked most of them out green, but apparently not. Okay, I think that's all the carrots. Some are so small they won't even stay in my basket. With it being this frozen out, you know, we don't have water on out here. So I want to get as much dirt out of here as possible before I take them in to clean them up. Okay, well, I thought this was going to be absolutely disastrous. So even to get like this out of there, I'm actually pretty happy. I really wasn't expecting, like I thought this basket was complete overkill when I brought it out, but it was one that was going to be easy to wash, anything I did get. Still, I would say this is my greatest gardening fail of 2023 because it really didn't perform like it should have and like I expected it to. But somehow I managed to save and get at least some sort of a harvest out of here. Now, like I said, these are These are frozen. I'm pretty sure they're frozen solid. I mean, this ground is like, these are chunks of ice. That's not because it's like heavy clay or something. And anyone who's thinking, because I did say that I grew carrots in here last year and now I've grown them in here again, and you're like, well, crop rotation, that's your problem. This was actually fresh soil because of all of the rearranging we had to do in the yard to build the greenhouse. I had to empty this whole thing out last fall, and then had some helpers help me move it around, and then I had to reload it, and I used different soils. So it's not because carrots were grown in here 2 years in a row, and I've grown carrots 2 years in a row in the same spot. It's not affected my harvest like this. I'm pretty sure once these big trees that are behind me leaf out, even though I have them limbed up somewhat to let some light in here, I think it's just not enough. I thought because I've grown different things in this area before, I thought I would get enough light through here, but I think what I was getting was mostly the east light, that now, even though the greenhouse is made of windows, it's just filtering that light enough that it's not coming through this way to be any significant source of light. And that's my theory here, and that's why I'm going to move this raised bed. And I do think moving it somewhere where I'm getting that east light in the morning is going to be my best opportunity for getting growth out of it. I really like this raised bed, and I'm really hoping to be able to continue to use it. But if it doesn't work behind the greenhouse, I really don't know if I have room for it anywhere else in my yard. So hopefully next year it works out better for me. Thanks for coming along for this really cold, icy, kind of pathetic harvest and following with me all year. This is definitely my last harvest outside, at least in 2023. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.